Thank you everyone for joining us today. I just wanted to very quickly go over a few accessibility features that we are providing today. Thank you very much to Robin for providing ASL interpretation for this event, and Karen for providing card captioning. If you need to use these services, I have already spotlighted Robin for ASL interpretation. And if you find the card captioning useful, you may activate that in your Zoom bar under closed captioning, and you can just say show subtitles. And I will pass it on to you, Mizan. Thank you.
Thank you, Amira, and welcome everyone. It's whatever you call it, a Tuesday or a Tuesday on February 22nd, 2022. I thought we would do something real fun on this day and showcase some real innovative Albertans to share with you what they do and how they are moving our community forward. But before we get started, I would like to introduce Margot Brunner, Executive Director of Voices of Albertans with Disabilities, and she will be reading our land acknowledgement. Margot.
The Alberta Ability Network gratefully acknowledges that what we call Alberta is the traditional and ancestral territories and gathering place for diverse Indigenous peoples whose histories, languages, and cultures continue to influence our vibrant communities. We make this acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation and gratitude to the many First Nations, Métis settlements in the 6 regions of the Métis Nation of Alberta, and the Inuit who have lived in and cared for these lands for generations. Hi.
Thank you, Margot. This event has been supported by our University of Calgary practicum students, and they were able to pull this together for us. So that's Eva Jones, Sherry DeSercina, and Wender Paquet. So we thank them for their support to do this. Of course, Alberta is home to many, many innovative initiatives, and we are spotlighting just a very few of them, but these are ones that will really inspire you, and we're so proud to have our presenters with us. So without further ado, we'll start with Corinne Krakowski from Wandering World of Busy Bags. Corinne, welcome.
Hi, thank you very much. So I'll just go ahead. I'm a little shy. I'm a little yeah, but I'm gonna do my best. So I'm gonna share my screen here. So my name is Corinne Krakowski. I'm from Fort McMurray, Alberta. I've lived here all my life, and I started Wandering World, a busy bag company, Bags of Wonder for your little wander. I had a stroke in 2015 when I was pregnant, and I was about to open my own day home, and I couldn't, then I had my stroke and I had to go to rehab in Calgary for about a year. Well, I gave birth to my son, who was in the background there. And because of my disability, right-sided weakness, I stutter, I need a nap most days when my son will let me. I pivoted and changed my dream. I'm still in entrepreneurial stages. The pandemic has set us back, but I believe in perseverance. I'm learning through our local startup company, Startup YMM. So there's startup companies all throughout Alberta. The Entrepreneurial Disabilities Program through Community Futures, and that's all throughout Alberta too. If anybody wants to get in touch with them, if you're starting your own business, have an idea or innovation. And through a sponsorship from Jilly Academy, which is Jillian Harris, she's on Love It or List It. And there's lots of sponsorships available through, you just have to look for them. And then one I was recently introduced to is 150 Startups, and they have great resources and Founder Fridays. My advice is your disability may cause you to change your dreams, but pivot. And opportunities don't fall on your lap. You have to reach out and especially network with like-minded individuals. I should say my busy bags we have 6 age groups and a sensory bag, and we're going to have toys and activities in them, and they're an alternative to use for tablets. So in the next few years, I see us at airports all throughout North America, and people might think that's a big dream, but don't tell me the sky's the limit when there are footprints on the moon. And my vision is to bring a smile to a child's face. And I know it's not as innovative as some of the other presenters, but I just wanted to show a case that people with a disability can still be something, and I want to be something for my son. So thank you for this opportunity. And I'm out.
Thanks, Corinne. And Corinne, where are your bags available? Where can people access your bags?
Wanderingworld.ca for now, and we're going to, we're working with a coach through the entrepreneurial group with disabilities, and then the pandemic happened. So she suggested I only get 100 bags so far. So now I'm opening up to more age groups and getting more stock in.
Wonderful. And again, we will be sharing the links to all of the panelists that we'll be sending out to you. And so you can definitely find out more information. This is just a little bit of an insight into what's happening. All right. I see, Bean, you've joined us.
Yes, hi.
Hello. All right. Our next presenter is going to be Bean Gill from Renew Paralysis Recovery Center. And those of you, I think, in Edmonton are very familiar with Bean. And so, Bean, the time is all yours.
Sorry, just 1 second. I'm just getting my tripod set up. Just 1 minute here.
Take your time. Perhaps, Bean, because you just arrived and I know technology could be challenging. Sean, would you be able to go next? And so Bean has a little bit of time to...
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you. All right, so maybe we'll switch right into Sean Crump. And those of you around the end tables will be familiar with Sean. And Sean is going to speak a little bit about Crucial. Sean, the time is all yours.
Thanks, Razan. Yeah, I'll also share my screen just for a few slides to make sure I stay on topic. As many of you know, that isn't my strong suit. Let's okay, so the platform that we've created is called Crucial. It's connecting accessible venues with those that need them. This is the first product we've launched out of Included by Design. Traditionally, we're a consulting-based organization that works with capital projects on increasing their accessibility. But over the last year and a little bit, we've been pivoting and transitioning to technology-led solutions. And our first of which is this platform. So what we do is we've created a map identifying accessible venues for people. For each venue, there's 5 kind of key steps in order to being put onto our platform. First, we do an assessment, making sure that they meet certain criteria from an accessible or physical standpoint. We also provide them a full report. This report allows them to identify what areas they are or are meeting accessible standards within, as well as where their deficiencies lay and how to correct those deficiencies appropriately to at some point meet those deficiencies or accessibility standards, so that they can continually improve the access of their space. Once we add them onto our map, we offer them support through different training mechanisms that we drive through not-for-profit partners, as well as connect them to individuals living with disabilities, as well as utilizing different things like event registry tools, as well as open API booking mechanisms, so that people can identify their needs with any booking that they do on the platform. So beyond just the physical access of a space, what other things would they need to feel like they're included within that environment? Myself, for instance, having my food cut before it leaves the kitchen, having straws provided with any water or other drinks that I order, as well as being seated at a low table on a primary path of travel, are some of the things I require in addition to the accessibility components within that space. So we make sure that all of those things are included in the engagement with any type of venue or business. We make sure people can find what meets their needs specifically. So we have 4 different levels of certification for people to meet or for businesses to meet. This allows people to identify what level they're comfortable with and what businesses can meet to their needs. Some have a higher threshold of what they're comfortable with or what they're willing to concede, but still feel comfortable and still feel like their needs are met, whereas others have a higher level of need or just a different comfort of what things they're willing to concede on. And so we've created this so that people can self-identify with what those may be, and all of these are the same regardless of what city or country, when we grow to that size, would be in. We make sure that not only can you identify the locations, but you can start finding events. So in the bottom of the platform, it actually identifies new events that have been listed, as well as things that you typically register for. It'll start providing you insight as to which things that are similar to the experiences that you like to participate in are available, offering discounts and different things like that as well. On the platform, we make sure that we're perfectly transparent to all spaces, making sure that there's no longer guesswork as to whether or not just because there's an accessible door doesn't necessarily mean there's an accessible ramp or path of travel leading to it, which we've come to find, or vice versa. Just because there's a ramp doesn't mean that door is necessarily automated. So we want to make sure that people know very clearly which things are available, which things aren't, whether there's parking, whether pets are allowed to, be included, and everything else. So we have a checklist as well as images of specific accessible accommodations on every business's landing page, which is also where you can find their events as they come up. So here's a quick snapshot of kind of one of the location's landing pages. You can see that there's images that are available. These are all texted as well, so you can have a description of what the images convey, as well as a checklist on the side, contact information should you need further clarification from that specific venue. Again, just really trying to instill that confidence within any individual that their needs are going to be appropriately met, and put that ball back in the business's court to really make sure that they handle it appropriately and really able to meet the needs of any patron that comes through their doors. That's it. So thank you so much for kind of learning a little bit more about Crucial. Check us out on our website. Feel free to nominate any business that you've patroned before, as well as follow us on any of our social feeds for giveaways. We often give away gift cards or hockey tickets or different things like that for new venues that do arise. Thanks, Maison.
Thanks, Sean. And just before, Corinne just gave a little bit of background of what inspired her to create her business. And the next the next steps. And so I asked you the same thing, Sean. What inspired you to create a Crucial? I love, I'm going to be a Crucialant, or I'm going to have to add that to my resume. But yeah, what inspired you to do this? And then what are your plans, and how quickly are you moving across our province and country?
Yeah, so I actually did this from the work that we were doing as consultants. I found that there was a huge gap in the work that we were doing, and we were working with like major capital projects, but none of the tenant-based businesses that really were there to create community and provide outlet for people to kind of become engaged with their communities were kind of being bypassed over because there was a price point that just wasn't working within, you know, their capacity or their margins. And that's really kind of where technology offered that opportunity that we could operate and work and find solution for those businesses in ways that they could actually do so, as well as, you know, start providing resources to people to get them out and into the community. So through the work that we were doing traditionally kind of led us in this direction. And we'll be expanding through Alberta kind of next quarter. We wanted to make sure that we could function in our own backyard, kind of working in Calgary, making sure we had the proper focus, businesses and information, and finding those value shared businesses and how we would do that. As we've discovered more, we're feeling more and more confident that we'll be able to expand outward over the next couple of months.
Thanks, Sean. And this is such a welcome opportunity for so many of us that need to go somewhere and do something, and we're not always sure what we're going to be met with. And I know there's so much work that still needs to be done. So thank you and good luck, Sean, as you take this across the province and the country and the world. Okay, next I want to introduce Bean Gill from Review Paralysis Recovery Center. And Bean, you're here, and so we welcome to share your work in Edmonton and your plans for your recovery center. So the time is all yours.
Hi, Mizan and everybody else. Thank you very much. Sorry about that little mix-up earlier. It's been a busy day. Yeah, my name is Bean Gill, and I am the co-founder and executive director of Review Paralysis Recovery Center here in Edmonton. I'm in our building right now, and so if there's a lot of background noise, I apologize for that. We don't have very many walls here, and I don't have a closed office, so I apologize. But at Review, we use activity-based training to retrain the nervous system. We reconnect the brain to the body using activity-based training and other proven therapies that aren't really readily available in Canada. A lot of the stuff that we do isn't even taught in Canada. Most of our stuff we had to go to the States to go get certified in, and to bring that therapy back here where there's a huge need for it. And I found that need after I was paralyzed. I myself am a manual wheelchair user. I have a spinal cord injury from a virus that was almost 10 years ago. And on my journey of recovery, I just had to travel to other places to find activity-based training. And the results I saw with activity-based training were astronomical. And so I knew that I had to bring this center here. And that was one of the reasons of why I was paralyzed. And, you know, I asked that question for years after it happened to me. And I didn't get the answer until 2016 when we actually, you know, decided to do this. So we've been open in April, it'll be 5 years that we are open. We work with children, we work with adults, we work with seniors. We have anybody really with any kind of neurologic condition we can work with. There are some that are degenerative that we just have to be transparent with expectations with those kinds of conditions, but generally you'll work with almost everybody. And if we have contraindications to your condition to working with our programs, we're still going to support you. You're still going to be a part of the Review family, and we'll still do whatever we can to help you increase your quality of life and really just live your best life. And yeah, that's kind of what we do. I can go down into like the science of what we do. I don't know how in detail you want me to get, but we do one-on-one sessions. Sorry, Mizan, were you going to say something?
Go ahead, take the time. The time is yours, Bean.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so we do one-on-one sessions, and that is, I think, what separates us from most other centers. With that one-on-one, you're working from the minute you're here until the minute your hour is up. We have you out of your wheelchair for the majority of the time that you're here. And we want you doing things that you can't do at home by yourself, because if you can do it at home by yourself, you should be doing it at home by yourself. So if you're coming to see us, we're going to push you really hard. We're going to push you to where we know you can get to. And, you know, with people with disabilities, oftentimes we're always told about things that we can't do, right? The medical system loves putting limiting beliefs on us, telling us what we can and can't do, oftentimes what we can't do. And there's a big emphasis on that. And for myself personally, I felt really low and very negative and depressed after any time I would meet a medical professional or quote unquote expert, and they would tell me all these things that I can't do. And it's just like, why can't we just talk about what I can do? And why can't we talk about how I could do these things that you're saying that I'm never going to be able to do? Because I've conquered everything that they've told me I'm not going to do. I've done it. And we help our clients do it too. You know, and some of these things are as simple as wanting to sit on a sofa, right? I don't think that's a unrealistic goal of wanting to sit on a sofa. Sure, we got to work towards it. You're going to have to figure out how to get your butt out of that sofa, right? But we will work towards that. And we think that any goal is achievable. We just have to break it down. And sometimes maybe it's a long-term goal that needs to be broken down into short-term goals. But we do believe that everybody can do anything. It's just going to look differently. And it may take some time to build up the strength and the courage and the muscles and connection you need to do whatever it is you want to do. It's 2022. This is the future that we're living in, right? It is not 1980. It is not 1950. So we need to break these stigmas and these barriers. It's time. We need equality. And I think since 2020, we've had a big spotlight on people, minorities, and people with disabilities are the biggest minority in the world. And so we need to capitalize on this momentum. We need to put spotlights on people that are doing awesome things like you're doing here in Luzon. And we really need the able-bodied population to know that we are worth it, that we are valuable, and that we are contributing members of our society. And that's a lot of the things that we love producing here at RIU. One of the biggest things that gives me joy is giving people confidence, instilling that confidence in them. I have a little girl. She was paralyzed when she was 11 years old. Imagine going into grade 7, going into junior high in a wheelchair. That's so hard. As an able-bodied person, it was hard for me. I can imagine having to go in a wheelchair. So I made it my mission to instill her with as much confidence as I possibly could. And this girl, she doesn't care now. Now she's in grade 8. She's going to dances. She's doing this. She's doing that. People get out of her way now when she's rolling through. Like, that's what I love. I love seeing that because I know she's going to have a very bright future ahead of her. And if she was not taught how to be confident and she didn't really feel value in herself, that could have gone a very different direction. So I love that I get that. I'm in that position where I get to instill confidence in people and really believe in them. We've heard here a few times from our clients, thank you for treating me like a human. And that breaks my heart, because you know how people are getting treated out there. And we will not have that here. We have our rules of conduct right when you walk into our building. And on there, it says, leave your ego at the door, progress over perfection. Take advantage of your trainers. If you have questions, ask them, right? And fully believe in yourself. We believe in every single client that comes in here, which is why they see the recovery that they do. And so it's just super overwhelmingly rewarding. And I'm just honored that I get to have this opportunity to share in people's journey of recovery and being able to provide a service that is showing results, that is increasing people's quality of life, and is really making a big impact, not just in our community here, but our community around the world. And I'm just really excited that we get to be a part of that with here at RIU. I don't have the slides or anything, but that's all.
Thank you, Bean. How energizing and that you're doing this work. And I know you've been at it for a number of years. And what are your plans of moving south or expanding across Alberta? Do you have plans for that?
Yes, of course we do. My plan is to take over the world. Actually, it's to change the world. I don't want to be in charge. I don't want to change the world though. And so, yeah, so with ReU, one of the things we've done is Nancy, who's my business partner and co-founder, she has created a course called Introduction to Neuroexercise Specialist. It's on our website, and it is for any healthcare professional who wants to take it, or a personal trainer. And so then they can start providing activity-based training wherever they are. And we know here in Alberta, a lot of people with spinal cord injuries, I only know the stats on spinal cord injuries, but we know that 70% of people with spinal cord injuries in Alberta live rurally. Only 30% live in urban centers. And so that's a lot of people who aren't getting access to the therapy that we provide. So we are more than happy to provide this course to people. We have 6 physiotherapists in Montreal taking it at an acute care setting, and now they're applying activity-based training in the acute care setting. That's amazing. This is what we want. We want activity-based training as soon as possible after an injury, so that you have so much better chances of recovering function and mobility and strength. We also do plan on having our freestanding state-of-the-art facility. Hopefully within 5 to 10 years, it'll be the first building of its kind in Canada, and have a lot of sweet surprises in there. And then lastly, we do offer online sessions. Because of COVID, we had to grow just like everybody else, shift directions. And so we do offer online sessions, which are actually very effective. I know a lot of people were very skeptical about how am I supposed to move my body when I need somebody else to move my body. But then it becomes, that's right, you have nobody else to move your body, so you got to move your body with your brain. And that's how the neuro recovery works, is actually thinking about it. Will it move initially? Probably not. But can you find that connection deep within you to find that muscle? Yes, you can. And we've had so many people thriving on our online sessions, and that's taken away borders. Now we have clients in the States, and we have clients in Ontario, because we don't have borders anymore. So yeah, lots of exciting things happening.
So encouraging, Bean, and the very best to you. Again, another innovation that is going to help our community do all the things that they know they could. And so thank you for that. And again, we'll be sharing Bean's and everyone else's information with you, so that you can look into it, and maybe some of these can really help you in your daily lives. And our last presenter is Sydney Hampshire from Click and Push. And Sydney, the time is all yours.
Wonderful, thank you. I'm gonna try and share my screen too. And maybe just when I get it up, please someone let me know, just give me a thumbs up, maybe Mazoon, if you can, about, can you see it? Do the slides look okay? Wonderful, thank you very much, I appreciate it. And also, like, I just wanna say I really appreciate being here. Like, we got reached out to online out of the blue to be a part of this. And I think that's pretty amazing that we were able to be found online. We're a smaller company. We started in 2018, and we are just a team kind of researchers from the U of A, but people who have been involved in this world for, I would say, like the majority of our lives. The 3 co-founders have been involved. So yeah, without further ado, I'm Sydney Hampshire. I'm a rehabilitation scientist living in Edmonton, but I'm also a person who lives with my own physical disability. I, like Corinne, had a stroke. Mine was when I was 9. But today I'm here to talk to you about an accessibility mapping app called the Atlas. And you heard from Sean about which places to go to, and I'd like to talk to you about how to get there. So my disability affects my mobility and can make getting around challenging, but people with mobility challenges of any degree experience this so much more readily. They can't get to a public space without over-planning because they will inevitably encounter significant barriers en route. Some barriers like snow are more easily remedied, while others are structural and more permanent, but that shouldn't stop someone from going out. The desire to be adventurous and live life never goes away. But why does my team care? Should we all care that just a few months ago, Israel's minister couldn't make it to the COP26 summit because it was inaccessible, or that my friend has to be carried up the stairs to go to mass? In 2019, the Accessible Canada Act became law, and it builds on the Canadian Human Rights Act and this commits to making Canada barrier-free by January 2040, which is only 18 years from now. And today's reality is not barrier-free. One of the biggest issues those with mobility limitations face day to day is changes to their built environment. There are a host of companies who are responsible for these changes, including construction companies, transit operators, and storefronts. In response, our team created the Atlas. So the Atlas identifies and classifies barriers and shows ways to avoid them, but it also provides information that can influence their removal. So the Atlas is a community-sourced voice interactive navigation app that empowers digital citizens with accessibility information to help them access societal spaces. It ensures peace of mind and provides opportunities for equal participation through a crowdsourced map. The Atlas is ultra portable. It exists on your mobile device and allows you to add features to the map hands-free. Just say, "Hey Atlas," and you can add a curb cut, a pothole, or a slow crosswalk light to the crowdsourced map at your exact location. Second, you can easily navigate between destinations with our advanced routing feature. So the Atlas crowdsources and displays restrictive barriers and accessible alternatives on your chosen route. And then the third thing is the Atlas gives companies a way to communicate with users of the Atlas and vice versa in a two-way real-time communication. The Atlas supports businesses responsible for public spaces by enabling effective public engagement. Our initial focus is with construction companies because traditional consultation processes on construction projects tend only to reach people with typical mobility, not those with mobility limitations or those who bicycle, e-scooter, or push strollers. The Atlas also enhances competitive advantage by helping companies win bids. With the Atlas, a bidding contractor can demonstrate that they're able to reach a large community of relevant users and that they can respond to the requirements that are stipulated in their contract. So you can see that there might be more buy-in from the company to support this work. Secondary customers are already emerging, like mass transit operators who often experience elevator outages or escalators that are down for cleaning and poor access to platforms or bus stops. And then other customers include campuses, shopping malls, convention centers, where changes in routes and access points are common and two-way communication could be valuable. I just want to say that the Atlas was developed thanks to a lot of collaborators and partners in our community, and they come from the U of A, various rehab clinics, and the wheelchair user community. Thank you for your perspective and your time. We really appreciate it. We also have mentorship from the U of A Health Accelerator, the Canada Startup Mentorship Program, and the ST Innovations business arm of the Smart Network. And finally, thank you to my team. I really, really appreciate you. With decades of experience in wheelchair biomechanics, engineering, and device and application development, our team is passionate about developing novel technologies for improving rehab and people's lives. And I'm really excited to bring research from our lab out into the real world. So that's all from me. And if anyone here would like to get involved with us or test out the Atlas, please send us an email.
Thank you so much, Sydney. And what are your plans for where you're taking Click and Push?
Sure. So right now the Atlas is slated for release in this summer. Right now we're beta testing. And so that's why anybody here, if you want to get involved, let me know. And then after that, after the Atlas becomes, more robust and can stand on its own, we're really excited about the idea of getting our Fitbit-like device out into the world, because Click and Push was mostly started because of that device, because things like Smart Wheel or other wearables can be really expensive. And so we have this device in our back pocket that we really want to get out there one day, which is like a Fitbit for wheelchairs. So starting with the Atlas and then expanding out if we can.
Terrific. What innovation. This is all about inclusion. It's about getting people into the community and being the best that they can. And many of you talked about access, and you know that Alberta Ability Network, an initiative of Cerebral Palsy Alberta, is leading the charge of barrier-free Alberta with their partners across the province. Barriers they're inhibiting the lives of people people who need to be engaged, and Amira will add to when we send out information on Barrier Free Alberta. We encourage you to join that. A little bit of a plug since we've got some time, but it's Alberta Ability Network is doing some really good work across the province in terms of poverty, recreation, transportation, human rights, and newcomers with disabilities. We reached out to a number of people in our community for innovation, and just again something fun to do today because we've just been inundated with such doom and gloom. And I hope that you folks are enjoying this. This is so hopeful. This is so encouraging, and I know this is just the tip of the iceberg. So we may plan something for March 2023 next year to see where you folks are at with your innovations and who else is at the table. So that's all I have. But before I go, I'm going to ask Margot to do kind of a wrap up and maybe some observations of, and I know Margot, you're probably so inspired by what you've heard today, but perhaps you can give us your thoughts.
Thank you, Maison. The first thought I had is, Bean Gill, you were speaking at 2:22 today as we were all making and manifesting our wishes to come true. So because you were speaking at that time, I think that I was wishing you all the success in the world as I have with Sean, Corinne, Sydney, and nice to see you, Bean. So as we were saying, it's a very important day when you're looking at what Maison just said. We need to start looking at what people are doing as far as innovation. We have learned in the last 2 years that we are capable of pivoting. We're capable of changing how we look at the world. We are changing how we do things and how we are being more inclusive, not only of other abilities and disabilities, but right across the province, right across interprovincial and right across our country and into other countries, to see who's setting the bar and how we can move up to bat and meet the standards that are being set in other countries. So once again, I want to say thank you very much for sharing this very, as Maison said, auspicious hour with us. And it was nice to see everybody, everybody's innovative ideas. And it was once again a pleasure to have you come and hear a little bit more about the barrier-free initiative that Alberta Ability Network is moving forward. If you're bored at 3 o'clock, or if you have nothing else to do, there is going to be the throne speech, which I may or may not take in. Sometimes I take it in with popcorn in the evening when it happens, just so that it's a little bit more entertainment for myself. So once again, thank you very much for attending. Thank you to the co-hosts, especially thank you to the closed caption and the interpreters. Good to see you.